Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from the Mortal Realms. Yes, we have returned with the new Harbinger of Decay. Full Goth the Miser, I think is his full name. He is here as part of Full Goth's Shudderhood, which was sent to me early by Games Workshop to build up and paint for all of you, and that is exactly what we are doing because he is awesome and I love him. Look at him, he's gorgeous. So, we're going to be painting him up today in our Contrast Plus style as per usual, and we are now going to jump in. He's been primed in Grace here, because whilst he is a Nurglite, he's quite cold and foreboding and full of despair. So, we've gone for a Grey Seer finish. Of course, you could use White Scar or indeed Wraithbone, depending on what kind of tone you wanted to go for, but I went for Grey Seer just to make him nice and cold. And the colour I'm going to be using first is Seraphim Sepia, and we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the horse's flesh. It's for a nice simple start. Kicking things off, I'm going to apply it over the top of all of the buboes and things as well. That doesn't matter too much. Looking to get a nice even coat here. Just moving the paint around. And the only place you really want to avoid here now is on the horse's mouth, which is in fact boned. In fact, that bit's the bone as well, so we're going to ignore that. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Aggaros Dunes and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the horsehair that we have scattered around. So we're just going to get this over the top of the tail and the mane, for example. So we're just going to quickly do the tail here. Just like that. I'm going to do the other side as well because we don't want to have any awkward drying lines. There we go. Lovely. Then what we're going to do on the horse's feet, this is more important for the back feet, so we'll demonstrate there. We're going to apply this over the horsehair down here, for example, like this, and then we're going to bring it up to around about the knees, like so. Then we're going to wash the brush, and then we're just going to blend it out and take most of it off so it gets that little fade into the Seraphim Sepia. And we're going to do the same thing on the inside. So we're going to come in from the back just there, come in from the front there, bring it up the leg towards the knee, Give the brush a wash. And then just feather it. Move quickly enough, should be pretty easy to do. And then we're just going to replicate that across all 4 of the horse's feet and the mane. So with that now done and fully dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Ratling Grime. And this is just for the hair, the tail and the mane. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the Ratling Grime, we're going to apply this towards the base of the tail. We're going to bring it down round about halfway or just over like that. I'm going to wash the brush and then we're going to smooth out the transition by just absorbing and moving around that paint like that. So with that Ratling Grime applied to both of those areas, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Wyldwood. We're going to apply this over the feet. We're going to kind of do the same thing as we've just done. So we're going to apply the Wyldwood like this over the top of the leg. We're then going to wash the brush. And then going to smooth it out into the Aggaros Dunes. Like that sort of thing. And so with that Wyldwood blending done, what we're then going to do is take some Mortarion Grime and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the horse's flesh, and we're going to apply this down the legs. We don't have to worry about the mane and the tail. So for example down here, we'll just apply some of this Mortarion Grime. It's still drying at the moment, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is, whilst we're waiting for it to dry, is we're going to take some Militarum Green and we're going to apply this over the top of the horse's saddle cloth. So with that now done, it's back to doing some blending on the skin. what we need to do is we need to take some Carroburg Crimson here. We're going to apply this around the bruising in areas such as that. So we've got around here, we're going to apply a little bit of the Carroburg Crimson. Apply it in kind of big circles around the kind of cracks in the skin, like that. We're then going to wash the brush, and I'm going to come in here, and we're just going to pull most of this off. And so with that done, we're then going to take some Nazdreg Yellow, and we're going to apply this over the top of the large boils here on the neck. Just like that. And so with that done, we're then going to take some Volupus Pink. I'm going to apply this to the kind of deep wounds and sores. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Garaghak sewer, and we're going to apply this to all of the kind of smooth leather on our horse. So we're looking at things like the reins, and the tack around its head. And with that done, we're then going to take some Wyldwood. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of the wood. And with that done, we're then going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to apply this to all of the ropes, and we're also going to apply it to the horse's hooves. With that Black Legion all applied, I've actually also applied this to the bird here, and to that kind of bit of the scabbard on the sword, and to the rope going up his back as well, just to point that out. But otherwise, the Black Legion's all applied. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to apply this over that skull of the horse, like this. Like so. And what we're also going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of the wood. So with that now done, we're going to take two colours, Nazdreg Yellow and Militarum Green, and we're going to use these on the drips just around the horse's mouth. And what we're going to do is going to start by taking some Nazdreg Yellow on our brush. And we're going to apply this over the top, like that. Then I'm going to wash the brush, grab a little bit of Militarum Green, and then just add this in towards the base of the drip. And if you want to, you can add a little bit more Nazdreg Yellow in there, but probably won't need a bit more than that. So with those drips now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of the entirety of these shrunken heads. Now of course we are going to do some stuff to the actual flesh parts, but we want to get the Skeleton Horde all over so we get some really nice colour variation when we come to apply our flesh colour. So that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts contrast medium to 2 parts Ratling Grime to 1 part Black Legion mix. So 2-2-1. And we're going to apply this over the top of the lower robes. This gives us a really nice grey with which to work. And with that now done, we're going to take a roughly 3 parts Terradon Turquoise to 1 part Dark Angel's Green mix. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of his armour. And so with that done, we're now going to take a roughly 3 parts Gutrippa Flesh to 1 part Nazdreg Yellow. And we're going to apply this over the remaining robes. And so with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Athonian Camo shade. We're going to use this to shade all of the cloth. So the green ones down here, the blackish grey ones here, and the sickly yellow-green ones that we just did. And with that done and dry, we're going to take some Poxwalker. I'm going to apply this over the top of our pallid green robes. Just take it one further little step down. So with that now done, we're going to take some Fyreslayer Flesh. We're going to apply this over the top of the skin parts of these heads. So with that done, it might seem a little bit early, but what we are going to do is we're going to take some thinned down lead belcher, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our silver details. And if you want to at this point, you can apply this over the top of every single bit of metal, and then just colour in the ones that you want to be a different colour afterwards. Now you'll look at the box art and you'll think, hang on, this chainmail is not meant to be silver, it's meant to be a different colour. You would be correct there. However, I'm going to do it silver as its base, and then we're going to do something cool afterwards. So for now, you want to apply this over all of the details you want to be silver, or indeed over the top of all of the metallics. I'm probably going to do every bit of metallic here, and I'm going to colour it in with some other stuff afterwards. So with that done, just whilst we're waiting for all of that metallic to dry, we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red. We're going to apply this over the top of the grip of the sword. In there like that. We're going to apply it over the grip of the scythe. Like so. And what we're also going to do with the Flesh Tearers Red, we're going to apply a bit of it over the top of the reins. Like that. Still waiting for things to dry. What we're now going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this over the wood of the scythe. So with that done, we're still waiting for things to dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Black Legion and Ratling Grime, these two suspects again, and we're going to use these on the horns up here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking Black Legion. I'm going to pick a horn on which to start this. I'm going to do this one here on the right. Now we're going to apply the Black Legion over the top of the whole thing. Just like that. Then we're going to wash the brush. I'm going to grab some Ratling Grime and then we're going to add this over the top quite roughly so that we're introducing another kind of colour of paint. But what we're also doing is we're creating a little blend going on there. You don't want to be too gentle with the paint. Just like that. You can come in with a clean brush and then just move the paints around. So we get a fade from the black into the dirty grey. And so with that now done, we're going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of those skulls up here. That Skeleton Horde applied, we're then going to take some Black Templar and we're going to apply this over the top of the hair up here. So with that now done, we've just got one last base coat to apply, but it's also going to be the first of our shades. And that is going to be some Gryph-Charger Grey. And we're going to apply this over the top of the beak of the bird, just here, like that. And what we're going to do is we're now going to use this to pick out some areas of the silver. So I'm going to pick out the little icon just down here, Nurgle. I'm going to do that one there as well, like so. And we're also going to apply this over the top of the Nurgle iconography on the shield. And next up, we're going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to use this to paint in over the top of the silver to give us our rusted mail. You can do this on any of the silver details that you want to be kind of rusty. So I'm going to do all the mail like that. And like this. And then additionally, with the Gore-Grunta Fur, what we're also going to do is going to add a little bit of extra kind of dirt and grime to him. So in areas, things like the this cloth down here, we want to add just a little bit of dirt. So we're going to take the Gore-Grunta Fur and we're going to stipple this around the hem of the cloth. We're then going to wash the brush, and then we're going to go back in there and stipple really heavily with a clean brush to just move that around. And as you can see, it gives us that really lovely kind of dirty cloth towards the bottom of the green. So we can do the same thing on this little bit of cloth up here. Like that. Wash the brush. Stipple over the top. And then, finally, on the scythe, I'm going to take Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to apply this over the top of the whole of the scythe blade, but then we're going to blend it out towards the tip. So we're just going to start up here, move the Gore-Grunta Fur over the top, like that. Wash the brush. And take it off. Just like that. Just by absorbing the paint, moving it around. Perfection. And so with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Runelord brass. I'm going to use this now to pick out slightly different areas that we want to be a different metallic colour. So we're going to pick out areas like the bell just here. We're going to pick out the little 3 studs here on the front. Like so. We're going to do the skulls on the shoulder and the skulls hanging down the horse's leg just here. And we're also going to paint in the trim of the shield. And with that done, we're then going to take some Retributor armor. I'm going to apply this over the top of the decoration on the sword hilt, or scabbard I should say, as well as the pommel and the crossguard of the sword itself. And so with that now done, we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to use this to shade all of our remaining metallic details we haven't done yet. Like this. And whilst we're doing this, we're also going to use this to shade the Cygor Brown and the red on the scythe and on the sword. Like that. And then we're also going to add some of this towards the base of the scythe. I'm going to wash the brush and then just take most of it off. It's got a little bit more darkness towards where it connects. So with that done, he's now pretty much at what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. The only thing we have left that we need to do, we don't really have to, this is kind of optional, is we're going to take some Terradon Turquoise here, not very much, and just on the shield here, we're going to stipple this over the top of the icon, like that. We're going to wash the brush, and then we're just going to go over it very roughly again with a clean, dry brush. Gives it a little bit of a verdigris type effect, like that. So with that done, he is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, and he's looking pretty cool. However, we're not going to leave him there. No, we're going to take him to the next level. I'm going to do this by adding some dry brushes and some highlights. And the first and pretty much the only dry brush we're going to add is some Garaghak stone, and we're going to dry brush this over the top of the hair like that, and over the top of the wood. If you want to, you can also do this over top of things like the black ropes. As well as his horns. Don't want too many super clean, narrow highlights on this guy. I want him to look a little bit dusty and dirty. So with that done, vast swathes of the model are finished. However, he's not finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to take some thinned down flayed one flesh. I'm going to use this to essentially highlight all of the horse's skin. So with that flayed one flesh applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Fulgrim Pink. I'm going to use this to pick out the sharpest points in all of our bruising. And all of our open sores. And so with that Fulgrim Pink applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down pallid witch flesh, and we're going to use this to highlight a number of different details. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick out the sharpest points on all the horse's flesh. Like that sort of thing. We're also going to use this to highlight any of the bony bits on the skulls. We're also going to use this to highlight the beak of the bird. Like so. And we're going to use this to add a little bit of a light point to our large boils. So with that done, all of the horse flesh is now finished and it looks great. So what we're going to do is move on, and we're going to take some thinned down Mephiston Red. I'm going to use this to highlight the reins the eyeballs of the horse and those soft wraps on the weapons. So with that now done, we're going to take some thinned down Straken Green. I'm going to use this to highlight our darker green cloth. With that Straken Green now applied, we're going to take some Nurgling Green. I'm going to apply this to the sharpest points on all that darker green cloth. So with that dark green cloth done, what we're going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Ogryn camo. I'm going to use this to highlight our brighter green cloth. And with that Ogryn camo all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Storm Vermin Fur. I'm going to use this to highlight the really dark robes. So with that Storm Vermin Fur applied, we're then going to take some Administratum Grey. I'm going to apply this to the sharpest points in those dark robes, but we're also going to do this on the bird as well. So with that now done, what we're going to do is move on to all of the green armour. And the colour we're going to be using first is some thinned down Cabalite Green. We're going to be using this to pick out all of the edges on all of the armour. So with that now done, we're then going to take some thinned down Cyberite green. We're going to use this to pick out the sharp points in the armour. Just like this. So with that done, the armour is all finished and we're very nearly there. We've got just a few more things left to do. We've got all of the metallics, for example, and some of the skin on those severed heads. However, what we're going to do is we're going to work on the metallics because that's going to take us a little while to get done because there's a couple of different things we need to do. So all of the mail we're going to leave because it won't look rusty and horrible. However, what we are also going to do is we're going to take some thinned down iron break and we're going to use this to pick out the edges on all of our silver details, like for example that little icon up there. And then we also have areas such as the scythe. So what we want to do up here really is we want to take the silver and we don't want to edge highlight the whole thing. We want to stick more towards the tip where it's looking a little bit cleaner at least. Just like that sort of thing. Doesn't really need a whole lot more than that. We do also want to add little spot highlights of silver. For example, around there, although that's a little too heavy. So I'm going to wash the brush, just go in there and just wipe some of that off whilst it's still wet. We are going to pick out areas such as little rivets up here, however. Just like that sort of thing. And then as mentioned, for the rest of our kind of silver details, you just want to pick out the edges. The other thing we want to do is just pick out the studs on the reins. So with all of those silver highlights applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Canoptek alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight the gold and the Runelord brass. What we can also do is add a little bit of it to the kind of darker, rustier bits up here on the scythe, should you so desire. So with that now done, there's only a couple of things left to do, but he's pretty much there. So what we're going to do is we're going to very quickly take some blood for the blood god. I'm going to apply this inside the neck stumps on all of the heads. such as this one just under here. We're going to apply this over the top of any kind of eyes and around any of the sort of woundy bits. And apply some of this inside the pink as well, should you wish to. And we can also pick out the little blood maggots scattered around. The model. So with that done, we're actually going to finish him off now by taking some thinned down Kislev flesh and just using this to do a little bit of highlighting on the skin on the skulls. So with that done, our Harbinger of Decay is now finished, and I think he looks amazing. I'm very, very pleased. However, we do still have that base to do, so that's what we're going to do. And, well, you can do this any way that you want, but I'm going to do it to match the rest of my armies. And the colour that we're going to be using is Ratling Grime. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the rock. So with all that Ratling Grime now applied across all of the rock, we're then going to take some Creed Camo and we're going to apply this over top of all of the swampy green moss and lichen. And with that done, we're then going to take some Wyldwood and we're going to apply this over top of the wood. So with that Wyldwood applied, we're then going to take some Flesh Tearers Red and apply this over the top of our mushroom. With that Flesh Tearers Red applied, we're then going to take some Nazdreg Yellow. I'm going to apply this over the top of the other mushroom next to it, as well as the stem of our red one, like that. We're also going to apply this over the top of the smoke just here. And with that done, we're then going to take a little bit of Gryph-Charger Grey and we're going to apply this towards the base of our smoke trail, just like this. Probably don't need to do it that side, you're never going to be able to see it. There we go. So with that now done, we're going to take some skeleton Horde and I'm going to apply this over the skull. And so, it's now time to take some texture paint, specifically Sterling Battlemire, and I'm going to apply this over the top of all of that negative space around the model. And so with that done, to finish things off, we're going to take some Tyrant Skull. I'm going to dry brush this over the top of the entirety of the base. We will add some tufts, but that's pretty much it.
And so, with a couple of tufts added to the base from Gamer's Grass, of course, the Harbinger of Decay is now finished. And I can't think of a better leader for my Maggotkin of Nurgle. He joins the Grand Army of Chaos project with aplomb, as he looks absolutely fantastic, absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I'd like some more Nurgle cavalry like this, because that would be absolutely sick. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster, just like these bosses have done, scrolling up on the screen before you, whose continued support helps me continue to make all the wonderful content that you enjoy. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button on the channel page or just below this video, like these wonderful, amazing people have done. And if you really like this video and you just want to shoot me a little thanks, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.